Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Claire Alexander. It's great to have you with us today in Africa Scotland Business Network's International Business Opportunities video series. I cannot wait for this conversation and interview with our member company and MD, the fabulous Peter Waggott from Vertical Motives, based in beautiful Carnoustie, Scotland. Peter, welcome. And can we just dive right in there and start off with letting the audience know who you are and what Vertical Motives does?
No bother. So thanks, Claire, for the intro, and thanks for allowing me along today to talk about what I do. So Vertical Motives does a few things. We are we've got university recognised training through the University of Aberdeen in sales and management. And we also have a certified entrepreneurship program. And then the other side of the business is I'm an accredited executive coach. So I work one-to-one in the workplace with individuals who have a neurodiversity. So things such as Asperger's, ADHD, dyslexia, dyspraxia. So that's the two sides to the Vertical Motives business.
Fantastic, Peter. And, you know, I follow the great work of Simon Sinek. I know a lot of business leaders around the world absolutely love Simon Sinek, and he places an important emphasis on why business people do what they do. So do you have a why that you can share with the audience as well? And maybe also touch upon what makes Vertical Motives, in your opinion, excel above the rest?
So yeah, absolutely, and I follow Simon Sinek and his start with why and move that across. There's books in the background with Simon too. So Vertical Motives Why was set up to establish a quality sales training program, because unfortunately throughout the world, my 30 plus years, nearly 40 years in sales has told me and shown me that sales is not done well at all. It's not even understood. So the sales process isn't understood. Therefore, companies don't know they have an issue. So that was the why behind Vertical Motives. What makes us excel? There's a really good question, Claire. One of the things I would say that makes Vertical Motives excel is that we look to align with partners that have same values as ourselves. So at the heart of this is the customer. So that's very difficult to find. So one of the things that makes us excel is we actually want to work with partners who are focused on their client first, not on them. That sounds a bit weird, but that's the way of it. One other thing is that we're open to learn. So within Vertical Motives and my associates that work with us, we're always open to learning new things and understanding new ways to do things, and we don't have it right. So to come back to what Simon talks about, it's about refining and allowing our customers to refine our products for us. We're exactly the same thing. I have no qualms about saying we haven't got it right 100%. We're heading down that road and we change things. So those were the things that I would say that Vertical Motives excels with.
And that is probably how you might align with us as well, Peter. I know you're a member company and you are using Africa Scotland Business Network perhaps as a soft cushion landing into African markets, but we treat ourselves and our team as a learning organisation as well. And you know, working with the members such as yourself and from 27 other sectors, our team are learning something every day. I do believe that you can't know everything as a business, and I'm hoping as part of being a member of Africa Scotland Business Network, you can also learn from the vast intelligence that exists, of which you are obviously part of that within our network. So yeah, it's a really important factor for us as well, that ASBN and our members are always learning. Mm-hmm. And on the note of international business, Peter, you're based in Scotland, but you already have international business experience and expansion into Middle Eastern markets. Can you tell the audience how you went about that, maybe as a way to inspire others to internationalize from Scotland?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Claire. And it comes back to knowing your sales process. So a lot of companies, we get what this is called organic growth. And organic growth is about working with the clients that you have and understanding if there's other areas within your portfolio that you can offer to the client that you don't currently do. On top of that, one of the things that we don't do very well is we don't leverage our networks. And it's all about knowing who you know, going and speaking to them, having a chat with them, understanding that. And that takes time, but that's what it's about. So when I started to build out the business and looked at the Middle East, I went to my contacts that I had out there and had introductions to people, two of which led to partner agreements within Oman. And we're now in talks with the Omani government. So it's just about understanding your networks and who you can go to. And it may not be specifically them, but they may know somebody that will put you in front of it. And that's really what it's about.
Peter, on the note of expanding internationally and the importance of being a consultancy and having to deal mostly in a face-to-face context, have you managed to adapt your services in any way to meet the challenges of the pandemic and be able to expand your business overseas? So for example, I can see you've got like this amazing digital classroom. Can you maybe talk to the audience a little bit more about that and how you've managed to overcome the challenges of the pandemic?
Yeah, I mean, just to give an idea, in March 2020, when the UK shut down, I lost 90% of my business overnight. Because it was face-to-face, we're doing workshops and coaching and the whole thing. So it was a case of going back to the drawing board and seeing what could we do and what could we push online. In the background, about 4 months prior to that, I'd been in touch with a friend, well, who's now a friend, who was an introduction around the virtual reality classroom. And what we were finding, David and I, was that when you go into a Zoom and a Teams call, they're great, but they were never designed for long-term training situation, which is now what it was. And we felt that we needed to be another kind of step in the ladder, if you like, between Zoom and Teams and face-to-face. There needs to be a bit in the middle. So we developed a virtual reality classroom, which allows us to go into a space without the need for headsets and glasses and things, and talk to people as an avatar, but have conversations with people as we normally would, not stop-start like you have on Zoom and Teams. Consequently, what you can do is you can actually split into two parts of the room and two groups can have a separate conversation without hearing others. So all these things started, and what we also developed was a workshop where facilitators would feel comfortable coming into in a digital space, regardless of their digital experience, because everything was similar. So they had the projector there for putting videos on, they had a whiteboard, post-it notes. So we've kept it that way. And the idea behind that, Claire, was that it would be accessible for anyone, anywhere, on anything. So that's where we kind of took it from. And it is helping. So we do face-to-face still, when it allows, and we do the virtual reality classroom. So we do both, and that's where our training sits now.
Fantastic, Peter, that's great to know, and it's really great to understand how you've managed to adapt and solve problems to keep your business alive and to keep it internationalized. I think there's a lot of people, particularly in the global north, that maybe have a sentiment around the adoption of digital in Africa. But I can say, having lived here for 14 years and having lived in South Africa through the pandemic, that the adoption of digital and being trained and learn in the learning systems digitally is on par with the Western world, if you like, which is more synonymous with digital transformation. So although we would absolutely love to see you on African soil, Peter, I do believe that there is a massive and perhaps exponential opportunity for vertical motives in Africa. So talking about Africa, Peter, is there any market specifically on the African continent that you have your heart set on to work with?
Yes. is the answer to that, because we've had to. So, for instance, our first port of call would definitely be South Africa because of the relationship we have with Africa Scotland Business Network, and we want to leverage our contacts, i.e., your team, Claire, which is very kind of you, and we're already working on that. Surrounding areas around South Africa, so maybe things like Malawi, Rwanda, in that area, and we can base it from South Africa. The other two areas of interest for me are Ghana on the west coast and Nigeria. Just to get into them would be fantastic, and I think that's where I would like to. I've got a bit of a my wife spent 9 years in South Africa from the age of 5 to the age of 13-ish, and my uncle is a chief in Ghana when he was out there, and he was a maths teacher in an English-speaking school. So those two affinities for me were the start of it, and the spillover into Nigeria. Yeah, they would be our focus.
That's interesting. It's interesting how people, even in a business capacity, they'll still go where their heart's got a connection. I do believe that it's not just about your head in business, it's also about your heart. And, I get asked that question constantly, what are you doing in Africa when you could be living in Scotland? And the easy answer is, well, my heart's here.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I totally understand that. And yeah, great markets, great country, Southern Africa, huge potential here for training, and in Nigeria, Ghana, West Africa. So yeah, completely agree with you on that one. Rwanda is also another one to take note due to the rapid technical innovation and adoption in that country, particularly in the city of Kigali. And thankfully, the Scottish Government has a brilliant relationship with Rwanda as well. Not that I'm selling Rwanda here, but yeah, it's just another relationship to note. So, Peter, in this new era of collaboration with other businesses that's risen from the pandemic, you also work with other service providers to ensure that you deliver a more holistic training service. Can you talk to us about that? Because that's something that African businesses are also finding their feet with, how to view other businesses and service providers, not as competition, but as actual friends in business.
Yeah, I mean, so for me, I'm Vertical Motives has a team of consultants, if you like, that I can call on, who have their own sales companies. So, but we work together because we're in different markets, and there's nothing wrong with having that together and come together. So that the reason I go to them is that they have a very similar philosophy to mine. It's about customer being client focused, and there's that kind of thing too. The other part is that with service, as you'll know, Claire, I have connections with some companies where it's not particularly my service that they want, but I will introduce my clients to them because I feel that they've got a service that might be on offer. For instance, augmented reality welding, or things around the AR in the renewable sector with a particular company that's Riot Digital, who's another member of ASBN. So there's things around this, and this is what it needs to be. We've got to get away from this thing about I'm a salesperson and I only speak to I'm the only salesperson there. No, that's not the case. In my coaching side of things, I speak to many organizations who say, you can come in and be our coach and that's it. And I go, well, no, I want to be speaking to other coaches. So it's this about back to being openness to learn, because we learn from everyone differently, and it's great to speak to peers and have that. And that's what this is all around.
Yeah, I totally agree that philosophy, Peter. And you've also spoken about, you touched on industry there. Do you, and something that is perhaps important just to kind of for the audience benefit, do you have industries that you would like to target in Africa? So for example, education, health, etc.
Yeah, that's a really good point. For me, the two areas to target with what we have just now is particularly the entrepreneurship program, because it's kind of key in two ways. It is definitely industries as organizations and as a whole, but also specific universities, business schools who see entrepreneurship as a value to the country. And the reason I say that is twofold. One is that the entrepreneurship program can be developed so that employees from large organizations can come along and be a part of the program and get to understand what entrepreneurial skills are required to start a business, but they can take those skills and put them into the organization they work with or work for. Similarly, if there is somebody that does have a germ of an idea or wants to move the idea to the next level, the program's there to help to do that, because at the end of the 12-week program, we can put them in front of VCs or investors and they can do a pitch. So there's two ways to look at this, but entrepreneurial programs are not just designed for entrepreneurs. They're there for us all to kind of get skills that we can take back and use in our own role within our own job. That's what it's about.
Yeah, I totally agree, Peter. I'm a big believer in ensuring that our internal team are as entrepreneurial as possible. Entrepreneurs are the people that solve the biggest problems in our society. So I'm a huge believer in that. And I'm also a huge believer in giving particularly young people who are aspiring business owners the tools, not just to start up a business, but to actually create a sustainable and scalable business. And that's where I think the opportunity is for yourself, Peter, because, and I can talk from experience, if I home in on South Africa as a country, and this is synonymous with a lot of African nations, it's startup crazy here. And there's a massive gap between a startup company and the very few that actually reach the stage of a scalable business. And that is where I see Vertical Motives fitting into this market, to give the budding entrepreneurs the training that you can give them to create sustainable businesses, scalable businesses that actually employ people and get people out of poverty across the continent. So 100%. We are totally gunning for Vertical Motives in Africa, Peter. And on that note, is there anything that you would like to leave the audience, some final remarks about Vertical Motives or who you are looking to connect with in Africa?
Yeah, so thanks, Claire, for that. So for me, what Vertical Motives, the model for Vertical Motives is, we're all about giving. So what we want to do is we want to develop a network within each country. And what we want to do is we want to work with the organizations there to help them develop their team so that their team delivers the programs. And Vertical Motive sits behind that as the safety net and the auditor, so that we are then, because we then have to be behest to University of Aberdeen. So we want to sit behind there to be the quality auditors, but we want this to be run and to be benefited from by organizations in country. So that's the first thing that we're really looking to do, is to work along those lines. The second thing for me is something to leave you with is we need to start to understand our sales process. And it's something that I don't think as business owners, most business owners know. And if I ask them one question is who their customer is, most of the time they don't really give me a clear answer. And that's the one thing, and that's where we fit into it, because that's the entrepreneurial side. We need to understand how our product or idea and who our customers are. And this is where businesses can see a benefit. So for me, the takeaway or leave something with somebody is understand who your how your sales process works. And you'll actually start to understand potential gaps in your business.
Peter, thank you so much for that, and thanks for the explanation there on the sales process, which, although it is absolutely fundamental to any business, so many businesses don't actually integrate the process or the learning or the management into their business. But I guess that's why Vertical Motives has a business.
Exactly, yes.
So Peter, thank you so much for taking the time for Africa Scotland Business Network today. Thank you so much for being a wonderful member of our organisation. Peter's website address is right under his screen right now, so please get in touch with Peter through his website, or of course you're absolutely more than welcome to retrieve Peter's contact details through Africa Scotland Business Network. We are most glad to help you connect with Peter and to Vertical Motives. Peter, thanks so much, and to everyone that's watched this video, have a brilliant day and make sure you get in touch with Peter as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thanks, Claire. Have a lovely day.